What is up, Detroit Red Wings fans? We have the third installment of the DSA Offside show today. In the building, we got Seth J. Walker. What is up, Doe?
Hello, thank you for having me once again. Excited to talk about some Red Wings hockey and even, with the expansion edition a little bit. So, very excited.
All right, we got Jim in the building from the Detroit Sports Room. What is up, my man?
Nothing much, man. I'm excited to be here today, and I'm real happy we got this hockey show going, and it's going to be a lot of fun talking Red Wings and absolutely release the Kraken.
For sure. That's what we're going to talk about first. So Seattle has named their team officially. They will be the Seattle Kraken. What? I don't know. I guess what are your guys' thoughts on the logo, the team name, the excitement for expansion? Just what are your general thoughts on this whole thing? Seth, we'll start with you.
Well, when I first found out about it, I think I found out months ago that they were going to name their team the Kraken. I guess it just became official yesterday or the day before, whenever. But I was kind of surprised because I didn't think that anyone would have the foresight to harken back to Greek mythology. But being I'm a fan of Greek mythology, I considered it very interesting, and I considered it very catchy. And like the idea of them being able to say, release the Kraken. And even with the fans already calling themselves crackheads, I find that hilarious.
That's great.
And I saw the logo looks a little, I guess I was expecting a little bit more with the logo, like to see an actual Kraken instead of just a letter, like an old English letter. But I like the color scheme for the uniforms, though.
Yep.
I really do.
All right, cool. Jim, what are your thoughts on the Kraken?
I love this, man. This is amazing, and we now have 32 teams in the NHL, just like we have 32 teams in the National Football League. I want to say what's up to Pistons Talk, who's a DSA member in the chat. Detroit, Drew, what's up? And thanks for tuning in. So I'm going to give you a little known fact. So I was actually born in Bremerton, Washington. So where the Kraken is kind of a neat thing for me. I lost the Supersonics. I am a hometown team. Let me explain this real quick. My dad was military. I was born in Bremerton Naval Base. Everybody else is from Michigan, my mom and my dad. I stay there for a minute, and we flee back to Michigan. So I'm born there. So I have a certain, like for the Seattle teams, I miss the Supersonics and all that stuff, but they're not my number one team. My number one teams are Detroit teams. It's the way I am, but this is really exciting for NHL hockey. I can't wait to see the mascot. Have you anybody seen the mascot? Because that's going to be really cool as well. The marketing is going to be great. I like this team a lot.
No, for sure. I like it a lot too. I'm excited. I'm probably going to, whenever I can go, if they allow fans into stands at that time, which I honestly don't even know if they will at that point. But when it's time for them to play, I am definitely going to be taking a trip to Seattle to see the Red Wings play against them. I actually have seen them play in Vegas, and that was
that's cool.
No, that was an extremely lit game. It was cheesy, like the Golden Knights had like cheesy skits in between, like before the game and stuff like that. It was still really cool, and like the projector shows were cool. And I kind of feel like it's going to be the same thing with the Kraken. I'm not going to like the logo. I was a little disappointed by the logo, but at the same time, I guess I was disappointed by the Golden Knights logo at first, but then it grew on me, and I was like, that's like one of the marquee logos in the NHL, or just in general. Like the Golden Knights logo grew on me. I didn't like it at first, and then it grew on me. Maybe the Seattle logo will have the same effect on me. But no, I'm excited. I can't wait to see how it all goes down. The Kraken. I mean, that's such a
cool name. It's from Greek mythology with Perseus and all that stuff, and Pegasus the horse, and all these things. I'm sure Seth knows more about it than I do, but I'm a little bit of a Greek mythology buff as well. So what do you know about that, Seth?
Yeah, well, that's from the movie version is Clash of the Titans, where basically Perseus has to save a princess, I think Princess Andromeda, if I'm not mistaken.
Andromeda,
I could be wrong.
Has to have the head of Medusa.
He has to go through a bunch of challenges. The main one, I think, defeating Medusa and getting her head, so he could use her head to turn the Kraken completely into stone.
Yep. And see, that was a mistranslation because actually he got the Kraken stoned. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding.
Wow.
That Greek to English stuff, it's really tough. I'm kidding. No, go ahead, BD.
No. Oh, you can say whatever you're gonna say. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was good. I was done.
Oh no, I was gonna say. But speaking of Clash of the Titans, like before the players come on the ice and stuff like that, they have to have that scene. They have to have the release the Kraken scene.
That would be sweet, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they have to have that.
Loving it.
Single show when they officially start playing games. All right. Does anyone else have anything to add to the Kraken, or should we go ahead and move on?
Let's get it cracking, okay?
All right. Speaking of let's get it cracking, so since the Kraken will be released in the 2021-2022 season, how does this affect the Red Wings 2020 and 2021 free agency plans? Seth, let's start this one off with you.
Actually, I'll defer to Jim on this one.
All right, Jim, how does this affect the Red Wings 2020 and 2021 free agency plans?
Well, because of the fact that we have to protect a certain amount of players, some of our players do have the two-way contracts with Grand Rapids, so that'll help us. We can stuff some people over in the German league if we have to, depending on who we pick this year. So it might not be as critical for us, but we don't want a lot of our young players being available. So my take is that we either get some free agents that are kind of older and kind of expendable and we cannot protect those guys. And that way we protect the players that are actually, that we actually want to keep, because we can only protect one goaltender. So, it depends on who we bring up. Now, would you rather have Jimmy Howard, or would you have Jimmy Howard, get rid of Jimmy Howard, and say you brought up Larson? I wouldn't do it yet, but just say you did, which you're going to protect Larson, then you might lose Bernier. You see what I'm saying? So it's good to get like for this year in the off season to get to maybe re-sign Jimmy Howard instead of let him walk.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Seth.
Yeah.
Seth, you got anything to? What's your take on this whole thing?
Well, Pistons Talk is saying let's give them just an abdicator. Jim, I don't know how you feel about that, but
let's what now?
That abdicator.
Get rid of him, or
give them abdicator.
Well, we could. I mean, this isn't this off season; it's next off season, so there is a little bit of time. My feeling on Abdicator is a little different than everyone else because he grew up in my hometown. He actually went to high school with my daughter. So I'm a little more for than against, but the contract is ridiculous. He has declined. I think it's a good thing to keep him unprotected and see if they'll pick him up. Yeah, I think Pistons Talk is on to something there.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm pretty much on the same page with a lot of you guys. Wait, Seth, did you want to say anything else? Or
well, it's the only thing I was going to add really was and I don't know verbatim, the wording of everything, but I do believe that when Zadina was brought up, not this past season but last season, they made a point to make sure that he didn't play more than 10 games so that wouldn't count as a full season for purposes of the expansion draft. So to my knowledge, he will be exempt from the expansion draft, as will Cider for that matter. So we wouldn't have to
Cider
worry about
definitely will. I'm pretty sure you're right on both, Sedina. They have to have so many games to make it a full season. I don't know if they've changed the rules on that and everything with what's going on, but I don't think so. I haven't heard anything like that. So I think you're right on that. And so it would come down to, like, you know, some of our restricted free agents like Mantha or Bertuzzi, we'd have to, you know, we'd want to keep Hronek, I would imagine, you know. So we have some players that I would want to protect. We just don't want to have too many up that are going to be some of the core pieces of our future. So I think you might see some of those players like stashed away in different leagues, or like a junior league, or you know, that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry,
PD.
Oh, did you have anything else to add? I'm sorry, I'm just interrupting you.
No, I was done, because I think that there is going to be some of that strategic planning by the Red Wings, by Steve Yzerman, to not have some of the people that he foresees in the future being his core talent, his core team. So I honestly think there will be some kind of a thing where he's stashing players like overseas, the Swedish leagues or the German leagues, or, you know, the USHL, something like that, Grand Rapids.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think I'm kind of on the same page with you. Like, you're going to probably be signing players that you probably wouldn't have in most other cases, simply because you got to protect so many and you got to expose so many. But does anyone else have anything to add, or should we just go ahead and move on to the next one?
Let's go to the next one. Charge for it.
Speaking of, what, you have one thing to add?
Yeah. I guess, like you said, I'm on a bit of a delay, so apologies to everyone. I wouldn't be surprised if Yzerman, along with other GMs, maybe made some sort of, I don't want to call them sweetheart deals, but basically those type of deals with the Kraken, to where if the Kraken agree not to take certain unprotected players, then he'll agree to give them other players in trade. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those type of deals either.
It's true, Seth, what you're saying, but as I look at the roster, I don't see that many players we need to protect right now, to be quite honest about it.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't know if this team has enough players on it to worry about that. I think we can protect is it 8 or 7 players and a goalie, something like that, or you can do. I don't have it right in front of me, so I don't know. But
7 skaters, and you can protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie, or 8 skaters and 1 goalie.
Yeah, and that's if you want to protect more defensemen, I believe. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have that many players up here right now that's going to form the core of our team going forward that we need to protect at this point. There's a certain amount of players that I would love to protect. I mean, obviously, but we are rebuilding, and we are just starting a rebuild. It's not like it's that we're going to be good next year. I want to throw that out there because people are going to think I'm cynical and I don't like our team and all these other things, and that's not true, man. But I believe in Yzerman 100%. I think this Red Wings team has the best chance to consistently be in the playoffs and make a run for the Stanley Cup under Yzerman than any other Detroit team.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so speaking of protections, I'll shout out to One Pride Nation. He is a Detroit Lions YouTuber, and he made a Tigers video recently even too. So if you're in the chat, please go subscribe to his channel, help him out, and let's get him going. He puts out content a lot. He works very hard. So yeah, let's go subscribe to his channel to see some content. But speaking of protection, who are players that you want the Red Wings to protect? I know Jim alluded to a lot of it already, but before we go here, I'm going to read the rules real fast. This is off of NHL.com, and they said that Seattle will be getting the exact same rules as the Golden Knights had with their team. So here's the rules. So all players with a no movement clause at the time of the draft. Oh, I skipped one thing. So current NHL teams can protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie, or 8 skaters and 1 goalie under the following conditions. All players with a no movement clauses at the time of the draft and who decline to waive those clauses must be protected and will be counted toward their team's applicable protection limits. All first and second year NHL players and all unsigned draft choices will be exempt from selection and will not be counted toward protection limits.
Say that one more time. Say that last part one more time.
All first and second year NHL players and all unsigned draft choices will be exempt from selection and will not be counted towards protection limits.
All right.
In addition, all NHL teams must meet the following minimum requirements regarding players exposed for the selection in the draft. 1 defenseman who is A, under contract in 2021-22, and B, played in at least 40 NHL games prior to the season or played in at least 70 NHL games in the prior 2 seasons. 2 forwards who are under contract. 2 forwards who are A, under contract in the 2021-22 season, and B, played at least 40 NHL games prior to the season or played at least 70 NHL games in the prior 2 seasons. 1 goalie who is under contract in 2021-22 or will be a restricted free agent at the end of his contract immediately prior to the 2021-22 season. If a team elects to make restricted free agent goalies available to meet this requirement, that goalie must have received his qualifying offer prior to the submission of the team's protected list. And then players with potential career-ending injuries who have missed more than the previous 60 consecutive games or who otherwise have been confirmed to have a career-threatening injury may not be used to satisfy a team's player exposure requirements unless approval is received from the NHL. Such players also may be deemed exempt from selection. All right, so that was a mouthful. Sorry for that. Sorry for that, but so with all that stuff in mind, I guess, who are players that you want the Red Wings to protect? And Jim, I'm gonna start this off with you because I think you kind of alluded to a lot of the biggest points with players that we should or should protect and players we should expose. But we'll start this off with you.
Okay. Protected players, I think Larkin's an obvious choice. This is going to be really, really easy, to be honest. But if you look at it, we do have some restricted free agents coming up, so that's going to affect us. But I would say Tyler Bertuzzi. I like Hronek, obviously. You get down to some players that it's like, I'm not sure. But Dylan Larkin, of course, Anthony Mantha, Bertuzzi. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at. I like Robbie Fabry, but I'm not really sure that he play enough games. I'm not even sure about that. So there's some players that I would protect. I think that's the list for me at this point.
All right, Jim, who are players that you want the Red Wings to protect?
Just said.
All right. Well, off the top of my head, without I would, obviously would want to do more research, if I was being the actual GM, of course. But off the top of my head, Larkin, Bertuzzi, Hronek, Mantha. And then DeKaiser, maybe. I'm kind of wishy-washy on him at this point of his career.
Yeah,
I really like Fabry because I really do like Fabry, so he would probably be on my protected list. The goalie situation, though, would be the trickiest one. Do you keep Howard so you can expose him? Do you sign another veteran backup? So because you don't want to be without him and Bernier without having another goalie in place because Larson probably won't be ready. So to me, the goalie situation would be by far the trickiest.
We got Pistons Talk with us right now. What's up, man?
Not much. So you guys were talking some hockey. Thought I'd join.
That's awesome. We like anybody to join and can talk some hockey with us. It's a little different because this is like the first hockey show the DSA has done. So we really appreciate you joining us today.
Well, no problem.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for jumping on Pistons Talk. So Basically, what we were talking about is players that we want the Red Wings to protect when we have to expose and protect players. Who are players that you want the Red Wings to protect? You're familiar with how the rules and stuff work?
Oh, like the way they did with the Golden Knights?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to protect guys like Zadina, Sider, and guys like that, obviously. But
I don't think you have to, though, because they haven't played enough games with the Red Wings.
I'd hate to let them go, though, you know?
No, you wouldn't have to let them go because they're not eligible to be selected unless they've played 40 games with the Red Wings.
Oh, that's true.
But if, like, to your point, though, if Sider plays all year, definitely have to protect him.
Yeah. I don't really know, though. Like, if you kind of look at the process, like, just the Red Wings roster right now as a whole, I don't really know if there's, like, a guy that I would, like really protect, like, outside of, like, I don't know, maybe, like, the first line. Other than that, I mean, they can have them.
Yeah, it's pretty much all garbage after that.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it is, man.
I know. It's depressing.
No, but I was just going to say, I mean, honestly, I think most of the players that we would want to protect, I don't even think they're on the team yet, if I got to be honest. So that's kind of why we're going to bring in we talked at the top of the show about bringing in probably just a bunch of free agents with the intention of exposing them in this upcoming season. But I mean, I guess the guys for sure that you'd want to protect, assuming they're on the team, we do not have that many guys under contract for the 2021-22 season. Like it's basically Larkin, Nielsen, and Abelkader who are our guys. Like
they can have Nielsen.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with Nielsen either.
They can have Nielsen. Like that. Oh my god.
No, but we don't have that. Okay, we don't have that many guys, so we're gonna have to definitely bring in some re-sign our restricted free agents like Bertuzzi and Mantha and stuff like that. No,
yeah,
but
I agree with that.
You know, like most of the guys that we're gonna protect, I don't even think they're on the team yet. So I'm just gonna operate under the assumption that we do tender Bertuzzi and we tender Mantha. Like it's basically, I'd probably go ahead and protect Larkin, Hronik, Mantha, and Bertuzzi. And heck, I'm not even gonna lie, I've had time to. I wouldn't be mad at rolling with Bernier for a second longer. I mean,
I wouldn't either. I think this next year's a garbage season anyway. I don't care who you put on the roster as long as you give the kids a chance to develop and play a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think
Pistons Talk touched on something with Nielsen. I was absolutely beside myself the moment I heard about the Wings signing him. It's not that I think he's a bad player. I figure he's a good second or third line center, but the way they brought him in like he was like a superstar, fully intended to replace Dasuk. And I'm like, what the hell? Excuse my language. I was.
They paid him like that too.
I got confused all year because him and Filippo had switched numbers. I was like, wow, Nielsen's playing really well. I was like, oh crap, he changed numbers.
for sure.
That was good.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Does anyone else have anything to add?
No, man, I'm good. Like I said, I think this is a garbage year coming up. I think that what we're looking for is development, and that's it. And that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think me and you are pretty much on the same page with everything. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to this question. Is it time to put a C on Dylan Larkin? Pistons Talk. No, we'll start with you. You okay with starting this one off?
Yeah, for sure. I don't really know if it's like time because I feel like being captain on the Red Wings, it's more than just a letter. Not to say Larkin's not a good player. Like he's obviously our leader, but I just don't really think like just giving him a C because he's our leader and the situation we're in right now. I mean, we're not winning more than 30 games a year.
Right.
I think I said.
I don't think it was that.
I think it was like 17 or something like that. I don't even know last time I looked, but I don't know. It feels like it's just giving a C. It's like guys like Lindstrom, Zetterberg, Yzerman. It's like I don't know. Guys like that And if you compare him to Larkin, you can't even really compare him.
That's true. Totally understand that one.
For sure. Seth, what do you think about this? Is it time to put a C on Dylan Larkin?
At the start of the season, I would have said definitely, absolutely. But now I'm thinking that after seeing him go through this past season, how his numbers were kind of down, but more so in terms of his attitude and how he really seemed to be more frustrated. I'm not really sure if that season is the right time to put the C on him. Do I believe he should and will be the next captain? Most likely, yes. But is that time next season? I really don't think so. I would be fine with them spending another season with him, Glendening, Abdulkader, and who else was it? There's a fourth guy. Nielsen, I think.
Yeah,
Nielsen.
Yeah, have them all wear A's and let Larkin get to C after, the following season. Provided he's able to show that maturity to be able to put 110% in every game, no matter what.
All right, fair enough. Jim, what do you think about this? Is it time to put a C on Dylan Larkin?
Actually, I gave him a D for last year, but
Wow.
All right.
No. Here's the deal, man. The C Pistons Talk hit it right on the head because the C means a lot more in Detroit than it does in, I think, any other sport. In Detroit, I think it means a whole hell of a lot here. I don't think it's the right season. I would go with all assistant captains this year. And I just don't think there's a clear, if he's the leader, he has to step up his game. I think Bertuzzi showed more heart, to be quite honest. He may not have the skill level of a Dylan Larkin, but he sure as hell has the heart. So that, for me, it's just, hey, let's get a bunch. I think there's going to be a bunch of assistant captains, and I do not think it's time to put the C on Larkin.
I'm surprised. Here's what I disagree with every one of you. Yes, it is time to put the C on Dylan Larkin, and let me explain why. If not now, then when? Here's my example. So I'm going to go with a football example. So I don't know if y'all watched America's game where the Jets upset the Baltimore Colts in the Super Bowl in Super Bowl III. So here's what happened. So Joe Namath was not a leader. Like, he wasn't a leader. He was showing up 10 minutes prior to the start of a game and stuff like that. And he was just doing a bunch of weird things, and the team didn't like the way he was presenting them. So here's what the management did. The management went to the players and said, make Joe Namath the captain. Make him become a leader. So it's not necessarily that Larkin's a leader yet, but make him become a leader. That's why I think it's time to put the C on Larkin.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I think he needs to be the leader first.
Look how long it took Steve Eiserman to get a C, though, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
It took. I get it, but I mean, there's debates over giving it to Mantha or Bertuzzi.
I agree with that.
Be a clear leader.
Well, I mean, heck. I mean, I'm just like, if it's not Larkin, give it to somebody. Make somebody step up. Make somebody become.
But BD, what's your purpose in that for next year?
I guess that's a good point. Like, we're probably not gonna do anything, but that is a good point, actually. So
if you put the C on Larkin with the confidence level he has right now, it could really break him instead of help him.
Well, that's also kind of
extra. It puts extra pressure on him to be the leader rather than get his stuff together and be the hockey player he could be.
I mean, that is also a good point. But that's also kind of why I want to see a C, because I want to see him. It's either going to make him or break him. I want to see which direction he chooses is also kind of.
Yeah, I hate wasting talent, and I think he has talent. There's just something wrong with the wiring in his brain right now.
I think he got double teamed all year, and he just wasn't used to it.
Yeah, that's true too. That's a good point.
He was getting so frustrated, and like you could see it on the bench. He was frustrated with himself. If he was, getting out of double teams and, putting up the points he did 2018-19, I'd be like, yeah, give him a C.
What do you think about that? Pistons talk about him. If we give him the C2 early, it might be a detriment more than a help.
He would have so much pressure on himself. I don't think he would like it.
I agree with that. I think it could break him. I really do.
And
I don't like to waste that talent.
He's a really good player. He's developed so much, but I mean, giving him a C2 early could really hurt his career. Yeah, and it could force his way out of Detroit. You never know.
Yeah.
You know, PD Sports, you did bring up an interesting point, but I feel like that would only be like for special situations, and I just don't feel like this is the type of situation. But I do see your point because I read back in the 92-93 season when Gretzky missed time due to an injury with the Kings, Barry Melrose felt it was a good idea to give Luc Robitaille a C for the time being, make him step up and be a leader, and he responded with a career year. But again, I think those are special cases. And to go along with what Jim and Pistons Talk said, I just don't feel like this is the right time for Larkin, considering the frustration level he's had.
I mean, I'm not mad at anybody. Like you're all making fair points. I think we just see it differently. I see what you all are saying. Like you guys have swayed me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. You guys have swayed me a little bit. But
he'll get the C, man. I mean, it's gonna come, but I just don't think this year's it.
All right, well, that's fair enough. Do you think we can move on, or does anyone else have anything to add to this?
No, I was good.
Moving on.
We're good? All right, this is going to be a fun question. Do you think Blashill makes it through the entire 2020-2021 season?
Yes, absolutely yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, we'll start with you, Jim. You're in bad.
Sorry. No, absolutely 100% yes. Why? There's no need to make a change. We're not doing anything. I'm going to stick by what I've been saying the whole time. This next year is a garbage year. It really is. I don't care who we get free agent wise, unless it's strategic to get development out of the younger players we have. I'd like to see some younger players that are ready to take that leap into the NHL and see how they fare against other teams and get them the experience. I really don't think we're going to compete for a playoff spot next year. I really don't. And I don't think Blashill's on the hot seat whatsoever until this rebuild really starts ramping up.
For sure. Seth, do you think Blashill makes it through the entire 2020-2021 season?
I believe he does, unless the Red Wings start 0-20 and get blown out 6-7 to 10-0 every game. Unless those things happen, then he will make it through the season.
All right. Pistons Talk. What do you think? Do you envision Blashill making it through the entire 2020-2021 season?
I think he'll be the coach for the rest of the season. For me, Blashill has always been a perfect coach if you want to tank and have a high lottery pick. Yep. He's not good enough to get you, 30, 40 wins, but he's bad enough to get you a top lottery pick. And he's good at developing players. I know fans say, oh, he hasn't developed anyone. He's done a lot of good development with Larkin, Mantha, Bertuzzi over the years. I think we keep him until maybe a better coach comes available. Like if a better coach comes available, then yeah, I think we would fire him if, we're actually winning more than 30 games a year. But I think we're going to keep him for this year.
All right, I agree with all of you. I think we're all pretty much on the same page. But my question is, this is just a kind of might be an outfield question, but do you guys? The only reason I would fire him is if you think he's hurting the development of the young players. So it's like this is for everyone, actually. Do you think firing Blashill midseason would hinder the development of the players, or do you think it would help because whomever becomes interim head coach would do a better job of it? Do you guys? Like that's the only thing I would see.
I don't agree. I agree with Pistons Talk on this because you look at Anthony Mantha and his development and Bertuzzi and his development, Hronek. I mean, these players, especially Mantha, was struggling quite a bit, and I think Blashill's done a decent job. Larkin's kind of an anomaly, and honestly, I don't think it's the coaching. I think it's the player. You know what I mean? Because I've seen other players develop under Blashill, especially Grand Rapids, now Detroit. I think that he is good at that. Is he a good NHL head coach? No, he isn't. But we don't need him to be right now. We need that development of players. When we have like I said, when the players are here for the rebuild and we're starting to get some of the some big name free agents to go with some of our young stars, and we're starting to climb that ladder, I think that's when you'll see that coaching change happen.
No, yeah, I think we're I'm sorry, I misrepresented. I agree. Firing him would not. I do agree. Firing him would not help the development of players. It would more likely hinder it than anything. But no, I do see him making it through the entire season. Unless, like Seth said, unless we're losing 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, or consistently losing by 4 to 5 plus goals every night. We have to be really, really bad. I just hope we cannot be this bad again. At least I would hope we can't be this bad again. But no, I think we're mostly on the same page with this one. So does anyone else have anything to add, or should we just go ahead and go on?
Interim, yeah, I'm very against the idea of an interim coach. I feel like I definitely believe that the next guy that Yzerman hires to be the head coach will be his guy going for the long term. Now, whether they'll win the cup with that guy, I'm not sure, but he'll be there for long term in terms of developing the team into legitimate contenders. Kind of like maybe Jacques Demers when he came along in 1986, got them to the conference finals a couple of years in a row, but then they kind of stagnated, and then they got Brian Murray, became an offensive juggernaut, but they choked in the playoffs. So then they finally got Scotty Bowman. And the rest is history, even though it took them a few years.
Yep, for sure. All right.
That's exactly what I see too, right there. Is I think that we have a situation now. It didn't work out for the Lions, but just think about Jim Caldwell for a minute. And it's 9-7, and it's pretty good, and all this other stuff. And they need a player to get a coach to get them over the hump. I think that's where we're going to be at. It didn't work out, like I said, but I think that's where the Red Wings are going to be at when they make the change with Blashill. Which I do see that happening. I don't think Blashill is Yzerman's guy at all, but I think that Yzerman's guy could be under contract to another team at this point, and it could be part of the plan to bring whomever that is on later on in this rebuild. I'm thinking year 2, 3, probably 3 in this rebuild, we'll have a different coach.
Yeah, for sure. Did I get to everybody? Pistons Talk, did I get to you?
Yeah, you did. I pretty much agree with that. Everything everyone said. I think it'll be a while before we get a coach, unless someone gets you get a top tier coach that gets fired.
Yeah,
maybe Steve pulls the trigger. I don't know.
I don't know either.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yep, for sure. All right. Now this one's kind of a slightly darker question, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you that we could be going back to being the dead things or dead wings? Jim, let's start off with you because I think I know your answer. So let's start with you.
I think there's 0% chance they're going to turn back into the dead things. I don't see this at all. I believe in Yzerman 100%, not just because he's Steve Yzerman and over here he's a legend and all that. No, he went over and he learned under Jim Nill. He learned under Kenny Holland. He went over to Tampa Bay. He proved himself, and he comes back to Detroit, proven GM. So I totally believe he's done this before. And this is right in his wheelhouse. It's his hometown team. Yeah, I totally think it's all there for us to become a Stanley Cup contender again. And I think there's going to be a couple of growing pain seasons for the next 2 to 3 years, and then we'll be right back where we used to be.
All right. Pistons Talk. On a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you that we could be going back to being the dead things?
I'd probably go 1 because I don't really see us going back to the dead things or the dead wings. I think we have a lot of players in the pipeline that are going to develop into, really good players. Like Joe Veleno, for example. I still have a lot of high hopes for him. You got Zadina. You could have those two on the same line. That could be really deadly for the Wings. I don't think we're going to be the dead wings. I think it's just going to take maybe another year to 2 until we see all these players coming on up. And I think the future will be bright for the Red Wings.
All right. Seth, scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you?
Not nervous at all. I say a 1. I kind of have a unique perspective because, as I've alluded to in the past, I was born during the Dead Wings era in May 1982, a month before Mike Gillis bought the team. But I didn't really become a fan till the early 90s, around 93, which by that time they became, they were now an offensive juggernaut, being able to score on everyone but choking in the playoffs. So I'm basically part of that generation of fans that always knew the Red Wings to be an elite team and, was part of that group that was spoiled. So for a number of years, I dreaded the whole idea of the Red Wings missing the playoffs, like when they were in danger of missing the playoffs in 2010 and then a few years later after that. But by the time they had signed Nielsen and Ott, I saw the writing on the wall, and I was like, yeah, the streaks went in. And by that time, I had come to peace with it. So now I actually see this rebuild as sort of like a refreshing take, an interesting new experience for me, to see, how the Red Wings can get back to where they need to be. And I believe that with Yzerman at the helm, that they will make it back there. I'm not saying that they will win the cup in 5 years, but I think within 5 years, they'll be back to being a relevant playoff team, because in today's NHL, it's easier to rebuild now than it was before, because you have to rely more on younger players than before the salary cap era.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm gonna probably have I'm definitely not at a 1. I'm out of 3, honestly. Like, I'm more leaning towards the side that we're gonna get this back together relatively shortly. We're one of the best run organizations, not just in hockey, but in all honesty, all of sports. The Red Wings have been one of the most consistently best run organizations. But at the same time, Yzerman has a proven track record. I don't know. This is more of an emotional choice for me, honestly. I'm definitely not at a 0, and I'm definitely not at a 1. But there's that, I don't know, what's the word? I don't know. I guess there's that devil on my shoulder saying, don't look too far ahead. You never know. I guess there's that devil saying you never know with me.
That's that Lions fan in you. Just kick that devil right out.
Yeah, it's the Lions Kool-Aid.
Amen to that.
And I think it's hard when you didn't grow up with the Dead Things, which I did. That was a really bad team. Those were some really bad teams. But the thing is it's like we are in a similar situation right now. But at that time, it was hopeless. At that time, we hadn't won anything in quite a while. So it's not like the Red Wings haven't had a huge streak of playoff run and, Stanley Cups and all this stuff. I think it's a totally different situation. I don't think it's the same at all as it used to be when they were called the Dead Things and all that way back when, because they were kind of like the Lions at that time. They just didn't win. It was just the same type of thing that the Lions are going through, and then they broke through. And I don't think people have the same feeling about the Red Wings as they do the Lions, or maybe even the Pistons. What do you guys think?
Well,
I'm sorry.
I remember from years ago in the sports radio class I was at in Oakland University, taught by Mark Champion. Yes, Steve Mark Champion.
I know him. Yeah.
He made the point to say that even though Detroit is called Hockey Town, this is really a football town, because win or lose, Monday morning, who's everyone going to be talking about? The Lions. Whereas the Red Wings, you'll always have your share of Red Wing fans, but people will really join the bandwagon when when they're an elite team. Same with the Pistons. I feel like everyone's lukewarm about the Pistons when they're mediocre or bad, but then when they're really good, everyone jumps on the bandwagon. So I feel like people are naturally going to care more about the Lions trying to win the Super Bowl than, the Red Wings, Tigers, or Pistons. And plus, with the Red Wings, we had that run of success, which really wasn't that long ago. So it's like, okay, we're fine. We're not in a big hurry for the Red Wings to make it back to the top. So I feel like the smart fans will be patient. Whereas some of the other fans that maybe only know success, they may actually, I don't want to say spoiled brats, and I don't mean to insult anyone, but they see what's going on right now and be like, fire Blanchard. If you go to the Facebook groups, fire Blanchard, this is unacceptable. Oh, this is losing. They need to show more effort. And I'm like, dude, be patient. It's just a different. But I think overall it's a different feel.
All right, Jim, could you repeat that question again, real fast? I'm sorry.
Oh, I just think that, what do you think about the other franchises, how they're viewed by the Detroit area, Detroit media, Detroit sports fans versus the Red Wings? I think there is a different feeling about this team than there is about, say, the Tigers or the Pistons or the Lions. What do you think about that?
No, I think Seth actually hit some, now that with the repeat of that, I think you hit some good points. I think, I'm just going to speak from my personal experience. I'm not as of course, I'm not gonna say I don't get upset when I'm watching the team and they're looking terrible, looking like they're looking like they're 3-on-5 all game long. I got frustrated at it, but I can't be that mad because I saw the team be so successful for so long. I got to watch them make it to a Stanley Cup and win it. I got to see them make it to a Stanley Cup and lose it. I've seen too much success. I was spoiled. I grew up when the Red Wings were a juggernaut. They always had a plan and ready. They had Datsuk. They got Datsuk. They got Zetterberg. They always had a player ready to come in and do stuff and contribute. So I guess with the Red Wing, I don't get overly upset because I saw them be so successful for so long. I probably get a little more frustrated with, say, the Lions because I haven't seen them to have the level of success that I may or may not want them to have, but even with the Pistons, I get a little frustrated with them. I got to see them win one championship, but at the same time, I think we made 7 straight Eastern Conference Finals appearances. That's pretty good success. There's a lot of franchises that would love to have that type of chemistry and camaraderie or whatever. But did that kind of answer your question, Jim, or not really?
Oh, yeah. Did anybody else want to weigh in on that? Did you say anything about it, Pistons Talk?
No, but I probably have to agree with Seth. I feel like Michigan is such a football state. Anything from, high school football to, college football to just the Lions. Everyone's how about those Lions? Because they've sucked for so long. The closest thing I probably saw was the Stafford Megatron days where, they made the playoffs and they got screwed on that play, but I'm not going to bring that up. But Tigers had really good success too. They made a couple World Series, but they couldn't get past it. Pistons, they've been a mess for 10 years. I think, people are just so used to the Pistons sucking that they don't even get invested. They're just so numb to being bad. They're like, yeah, we suck. What do you want? As for the Wings, I think I started watching when I was around 5, so that was 97. So I got to see them win a lot of championships, and I see what championship level hockey is, and the stuff we have now. I can see why fans are just so disgusted with it because it's really pathetic. Honestly, it's just
it's Ken Holland, man. He had a hard time. At first, the salary cap, he was okay for a while, but you can see the writing on the wall with him. He was not prepared to have a hard cap, and as it went, the caliber of the team kept going down and down, and with people retiring and people getting older and all this, he just wasn't filling those spots with stars.
Yeah, I always felt once Lidstrom retired, I was like, okay, let's rebuild because this team is just going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart like crazy. We used to be a destination for free agents, getting Marian Hossa. That was a big deal back in the day. But, we can't even get anyone now here. So, until we win, we're not going to.
Absolutely.
No, the thing that really strikes me is Pistons talk about the Lidstrom retirement. From my perspective, it seemed like the Red Wings were caught by surprise by his retirement, whereas I was pretty much expecting it. I can understand it being surprised by Rafalski retiring the year before, but I feel like they should have prepared more for Lister retiring and not gone into panic mode. Now, granted, they did try to go after Ryan Suter and Zach Parise, but then when they both went to Minnesota, and again, I was in champions class during that time. Eli Zarek was a guest, and we talked about that, how that was a sign of the Detroit no longer being a free agent destination. He made up some great points because we were able to get guys like Robitaille and Curtis Joseph and Marion Hossa in the past. That really got me thinking about, I think the writing's on the wall for the Wings now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Does anyone have anything to add to that real quickly? Or do you think we should, or do you think does anyone have anything else to add?
Nope. I'm good, man.
I think I got everything off my chest.
All right, sweet.
Hey, what's up, Bravo?
What's up, Bravo? How's it going, man? All right, this next question. I know this is going to be impossible for some of you to answer, but I want you to try. What are some positive things, if any, that us Red Wings fans can take away from this season? Let's see. Who have I not started yet? Steph, let's start with you.
Mantha, with his monster start at the beginning of the season, showed that he could be a great goal scorer for the Wings. I just want him to stay healthy and become a little bit more consistent. I think as long as he stays healthy, he'll be fine. He'll be able to score 30 to 35 goals, maybe even 40. So I saw that as a positive. And Hronek being a steady presence on the blue line, he's not the type of defenseman that's going to, grab a lot of headlines. He's not that type of defenseman, but he's a smart, steady defenseman that, if you don't hear a whole lot about him, then that means he's actually doing his job. Almost like a Brad Stewart, but maybe a little bit more talented or skilled, maybe, or I could be wrong there, but that's why I think compare him to in terms of defenseman. Brad Stewart, he was a very solid defenseman for the Wings, who was a steady presence, and I felt like his departure really hurt the Wings more than people realize.
All right, good take. Jim, what are some positive takeaways that we can have from this dud of a season?
I actually think there's a lot. So I'm kind of the other way on this. And the debut of Mort Seider, I think, is coming. I believe that Yzerman's going to give him every chance to make the team. And honestly, I believe he's NHL ready. I watched him a little bit when he was in Grand Rapids. I've seen him in the German league. That's a men's league instead of just a junior league. He's played with, bigger people. And you know what? He doesn't shy away. He doesn't act like a rookie. He plays very poised. He makes a good first pass. I think he's a really good defenseman. So I see him being up with the team this year, and I think that's going to be extremely interesting. And want to see the development of Filip Zadina. That's a guy that I think, it may take some time. He had so much confidence coming out, and I was so ready to see what he could do. Then he gets sent down, and he gets upset about it. I don't know if there's a mental thing going on there or what. But I want to see how he reacts. I want to see Mantha this year, Bertuzzi. Let's see if Larkin can get his head out of his ass. And I'm sorry. I'm just the truth.
It's all good.
And become the player that he actually should be. What are we going to do in goal? Are we going to re-sign Jimmy Howard? Are we bringing somebody new in? Are we going to promote somebody? I don't think we're promoting any goaltenders this year. That's just my take. I don't think Larson's ready. I don't, there's another guy down there, but neither one seem like they're ready to be in the NHL. So what do we do at goaltender? Hronek's another guy I want to see. And there's some other guys that Svechnikov too. I want to see if we keep him, and I want to see if he can develop. He's been a bust so far, and that's disappointing because I thought he had some potential. There's just a bunch of things to see in a rebuild that normally you don't get to see. The development of a superstar somewhere in this organization is going to happen. So I'm just excited. I'm going to be here to watch that.
Maybe I misunderstood the question because I was thinking more along of positives from this past season, not next season.
No,
maybe I misunderstood the question.
Yeah, positive. No, that's is there anything else you want to add, Jim? Or
No, I said what I was going to say.
all right, Pistons talk. What are some positive things that we can take away from this past season, this interesting season?
I'm trying to think, and the only player that was positive for me was Jonathan Bernier in goal. He was just outperforming Jimmy Howard all year. And I know his numbers weren't great, but, I mean, he was just a steady goaltender. And I think, the Red Wings are a team that, they're used to good goalies. And to have someone that was, like, above average was a positive note for me.
All right, cool. There is one positive takeaway. Now, this might sound weird, but my positive takeaways are that you couldn't just sleep on us. I mean, we kind of were a guaranteed dub for a lot of teams, but you couldn't just sleep on us. Like, we got 2 wins over the freaking Bruins, dude.
Not Montreal either, man.
Montreal couldn't even beat that one. That is hilarious. Montreal got swept by us. We even got a dub over Tampa Bay. That was a very quality win. I'm pretty sure we even got a W over
Edmonton too.
Yeah, Edmonton got a dub over Vegas. I mean,
we have good players. We just don't have enough of them.
Yeah, we have a couple good players for sure. No, but we were basically a guaranteed dub, but you couldn't just sleep on us totally. If you slept on us, you would have to you were going to get caught from behind, and we did catch up on some teams. We did catch some teams from behind at times. So I guess that might be a good thing for that. I might want to say I don't really have any positive things to say about Blashill, but I guess that's one positive thing I'll say about Blashill. He had his teams ready to go, even when they were total underdogs and when they shouldn't have had any chance to win hockey games. And I guess Bernier is also a good takeaway. I'm perfectly content with rocking with him in the net next season, and let's go from there. All right. Does anyone have anything else to add?
No, I'm good. I thought we actually have quite a bit to look forward to.
All right. Yeah, I love it. All right, let's go on to the next one. I think we're all mostly on the same page with this one, but I think we should talk about it a little bit. Are there any notable free agents that you want the Red Wings to go after? Jim, we'll start with you.
I'm just going to be totally honest right now. Unless they're a younger player that can fit with this rebuild, no. No, because there's no reason to spend a lot of money right now, on players and anything like that, because you're in a rebuild. Unless they're in a mentor situation where you think this guy's really similar to a player that you have and he's older and you think that he can teach him how to be a pro and help him, along the way, like a coach on the ice type thing. Sure. But to get somebody to add to this team, for what purpose? We know we're rebuilding. We know this year is not going to be the greatest. I don't think we're just going to have an instant turnaround because I just don't see it. So I don't think that there's anyone in particular that I would want. No, to answer the question.
All right, Seth, are there any notable free agents that you want the Red Wings to go after?
No. Unless you bring in those 1 or 2 veteran players who say, yeah, I want to be part of the rebuild and mentor the young players. No. Save your cap space for a better time in the future. You heard it from me, Seth Walker.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, there you go.
Pistons talk. Are there any free agents that you want the Red Wings to go after, or not too much?
I mean, the only name I've actually heard was Torrey Craig from Boston, but he is on the older side. But I don't really know what they're going to do with Howard's situation. There's a lot of veteran goaltenders that you could probably grab for cheap.
Yeah.
If, maybe a Ryan Miller or someone like that, he's way past his prime. You could probably bring him in for really cheap, improve your goaltending a little bit, and you can let the other guys like Larson, and I can't even think of the other guy's name.
I can't either for some reason.
Picard? I don't even know if we still have Picard.
Alvin Pickard?
Yeah,
Pickard.
I don't think that's the guy I'm thinking of. There's another guy that shot up the ranks here last year.
Oh, was it the European one?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I can't think of his name right now.
But he's not ready either.
No, he's like maybe 3 or 4 years away.
Yeah.
Unless you just like looking at a list of free agents right now, I mean, like they're not going to go after Taylor Hall. That's too expensive.
Right.
Like
just another one that.
Yeah, I mean, they could make a trade though because of the flat cap. I mean, that's a situation you'd have to look at.
The Islanders have a few goaltenders, and I think they have a younger one. I don't know if we could pry him away from them or not, but that wouldn't be a bad idea if you don't think your goaltenders are going to develop. But you've got 10 draft picks this draft. I mean, you could still draft another goalie if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, unless you think you're going to win, then don't go after a goalie. But who knows?
Right. That's the case. But it takes goalies a little longer to develop, I think. So, I mean, I think we should be drafting one every year. You got 10 picks, man. you got to go after them.
Yeah.
It's interesting Pistons Talk mentioned both Torrey Krug and Ryan Miller because those are both local players. Yeah. Miller, I think, from either Lansing or East Lansing, and Krug from Royal Oak. So maybe if they wouldn't mind playing for the hometown team and, helping part of the rebuild. But otherwise, I'm not interested in any free agents. I'm just not.
Yeah, I think we're mostly on the same page. Like, I probably wouldn't worry about making a splash until like next year at the earliest, or at least not worry about trying.
I'd give it 2 years. That's my take. It's off season, next off season, third year in. I'd start looking at serious names and making trades because at that time you're going to have assets too. You got to remember if we're having like 10 draft picks, I think it was last year or 9, I can't remember. And no, we have 10 this year. That's what you need to do. You need to accumulate assets and then see what happens if players develop. And you got a few players developing at the same time, same position. You can make a trade. What the heck? We've been really good at that and getting some good veteran players that are not too long in the tooth, but still can help us get over the hump and win.
Like Gagne wasn't that bad when we made that trade with Edmonton, but I mean, that's a veteran. If you want to keep around, I don't know. Right.
True.
Maybe. And even a player for potential use for exposure or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think we're mostly on the same page with this one, honestly. Does anyone else have anything to add? Because I think we're mostly on the same page.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page.
I'm good.
All right. Now this will be a little fun question. This will be the last question of the show. Who are your favorite Red Wings of all time? Not necessarily the best player, but just your favorite player. A guy that would do dirty work, a guy that would play hard or whatever. I mean, it can be a star player, of course, but I think you get. Who are your favorite Red Wings of all time? Pistons Talk. Let's start with you. Who are some of your favorite players?
I'm kind of partial to the Russian 5, so I got to go with Sergei Fedorov.
Awesome. It's a good pick.
Curtis Joseph. I was like when I was a little kid.
Cujo. I loved him.
Like when I was a little kid for Christmas, I asked for a Cujo jersey, even though it's Toronto. And then when he came to the Red Wings, I was ecstatic. I was like, let's go.
Yeah,
it's too bad he sucked with us, though. I mean, I
didn't understand it. He was so good in Toronto.
Oh my God, he was amazing. He was just. And then he comes here, and it was my favorite goalie. It really was. Well, not my favorite goalie of all time. Billy Smith is my favorite goalie of all time because he used to take that goalie stick and just hack people over the back with it. So I kind of like the violence. So
Manny Legacy was mine.
Oh yeah, he was cool too.
I remember him. All right, Jim. Who are some of your favorite Red Wings of all time?
I don't know if you want to know.
I do.
Bob Probert.
I watched his documentary where they talked about Bob Probert. I was too young to remember the Bob Probert days, but he was
a badass.
No, I believe it.
And then Joey Kocur was another one I loved. And it's obscure players for me. And I think that's why it's a little bit different. I mean, you can go Nicholas Lindstrom all day and Yzerman, of course, Fedorov, and all those. Brett Hull was another one when he came over. I really enjoyed watching him play here. God, it's weird because we had this love-hate relationship with Chris Osgood. And since he's retired, I think people love him a lot more than when he played.
I hated him on the Blues.
Oh God, me too. Wasn't he an Islander for a minute?
Yeah, he was an Islander too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I got so many good ones, but it's like I like the enforcers. It's just something from my childhood that I started going to hockey games at 6 years old here in Muskegon, and it's been a long road. I actually got to watch Mark Recchi play here live, and so there's a lot of players that I really like from that era and that style of hockey, which has been destroyed now. So thank you, Gary Bettman.
For sure. All right, Seth, who are some of your favorite players of all time? It doesn't necessarily have to be the best. It can be the best, but like, who are some of your favorite Red Wings that you got to see?
Yeah. Well, Tim mentioned he likes the enforcers, and while I like my fair share of enforcers like Probert, Koster, and McCarty, I've always really liked offense, so I tend to cater more towards skilled players. So I think everyone except for Pistons Talk knows that my favorite player of all time is Steve Yzerman. I do have a little story behind that, going back once again to 1993, to the first time I really sat down and watched a Red Wings game against the Sabres. No, it was the Canucks. It was a home game, and the first player they mentioned was Steve Yzerman. So here was this guy with this weird-sounding last name, and he was the captain. He happened to be good. He was still a 50-goal scorer during that time, so I'll throw it on him from that point on. And I'm also very much influenced overall by, I'm very partial to the 90s era Red Wings as a whole, so I really like Fedorov too, Lidstrom, Coffey when he was a Red Wing, even though he wasn't around when they won the Cup, because he was a speedy offensive defenseman. Also, Shanahan, when he arrived, he was a power forward, could score, and also could hit and drop the gloves. And then you had Luc Robitaille, who was arguably for a long time my favorite non-Red Wing player. So when the Wings signed him, well, obviously I was thrilled. So,
all right,
some of my guys.
All right, sweet. And I don't even know how to come up with this list, honestly. I put it in here, but I didn't really there's too many to list.
There is. That was my problem too.
Screw it. I'm just gonna list all of them. So I have as of right now, I have Lidstrom jersey, I have a Larkin jersey, and I have an Osgood jersey. But so I can put those guys. I like those guys. Like Lidstrom, honestly, will probably be my favorite Red Wing forever. I mean, he was just a beast, and you wouldn't even know he was a beast with the way that's how a lot of players are, but like with the way like Lidstrom and Yzerman just carried themselves, you wouldn't know that they were as good as they were at what they did just based on the way they behaved. Like I like the Datsuk. Dude, Datsuk was just so sick. I don't even care that I never care that I never saw Gordie Howe. He's on there. You'd think he'd have, if the Selke trophy was around when Howe played hockey, you almost have to wonder how many he'd have maybe won if that trophy was around by that time. One player, Holmstrom, he did a lot of dirty work in front of the net and taking abuse and stuff like that. And then Draper's another one. Dude, Draper being a lifelong Red Wing like that, you can't go wrong. I liked McCart. I love
that whole grind line.
Yeah, the whole grind line. Yeah,
the whole grind line for sure. No, wait, where was I going with this? No, I liked watching McCarty on the Russian Five. Like, he's such a hockey player, it hurts. No, that's why I like McCarty so much, because he is like the definition of a hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
But
and we forget Brendan Shanahan too. That's another guy. I really thought when they got him that it was one of the key pieces to get us over the hump. Then, you know what I mean? I loved how he played as well. You got to say Gordie Howe. How many players have just been, just so many great players that come through here, and it's crazy. You can't. It's hard to name them all, right? Don't you think?
It's very hard. Like, there's too many awesome, even the players that weren't necessarily Hall of Famers, they would do dirty work, like McCarty and Holmstrom.
Darian Hatcher, he was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he came over from Minnesota?
Dallas.
I thought he was
Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. That's right. Big dude. Big guy.
Yuri Hoodler, he was good too.
I like Tudler.
He was
I
top,
like
he
Tudler.
was top 6 on the team in points when the Red Wings won it all in 08. Like,
Yeah.
dude, they had so many contributors, whether they contributed on the stat sheet or not. They were just
Mike
Everybody-
Vernon, he was good too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike Vernon. I mean, they've had their share of. I love Dom when he played here, and it's just
Yeah, I love Toshik too. He had been the best goalie in the league for so long, and then to actually see him become a Red Wing, that was awesome. Brett Hall becoming a Red Wing, that was awesome. Another player who I really liked, believe it or not, was Dino Cicerelli.
I love Dino Cicerelli.
Park himself in front of the goalie, buck the goalie, take all that punishment, deflect shots, tip in shots, get rebounds, and just score a bunch of goals. He actually had the NHL record for power play goals, not Gretzky.
wow. How about that?
But
That's Dino up too. He was pretty
but
good.
Dino was, Dino was not here for. How long was he here though? Because I know he played for someone else for a long time.
I think it's like
4 years.
Huh?
4 years.
4 years, but man, he was good. There's just so, like I said, there's too many players to mention, I think, and do this whole thing justice. To be honest, yeah.
You're definitely right. Does anyone else have anything to add, or should we go ahead and go on to final thoughts?
Well, my one, there was a player that I used to really, really love, and we traded for him when he played with the Rangers. I used to watch the Rangers a little bit because they were on USA Network at the time. And it was Ron Duguay, and he was just amazing for the Rangers, and I was ecstatic when we got him. And I think he put up like 30 goals or something for us way back when. It's probably people you never even heard of before. But yeah, I used to love it.
Anthology talks a little bit about Duguay.
Yeah, you did. That's right. I remember when he was traded. So I was like, we traded for him with the Rangers, and that was good for us. Believe me, he was at the end of his career, no doubt, like a Mike Badano almost situation. But well, maybe not that bad. But, all right, guys, I'll shut up now.
All right, no, you're good. No, you're good, Jim. Should we go ahead and go on to final thoughts, or does anyone else have anything to add?
No, I'm good.
All right. Final thoughts. Seth, we'll start this one off with you.
Well, again, it's a pleasure talking with you guys, and also hope helping put on a great show for everyone that is watching, listening, and hope to do more of these in the future. Please be sure to go to Detroit Sports Alliance. Is it DSA.com?
It's DetroitSportsAlliance.com.
Okay, DetroitSportsAlliance.com for the latest edition of my Red Wings anthology, which talks about the 1983-84 season. And it does talk a bit about Ron Duguay, where he was a 30-goal scorer for the Red Wings. And that was also, of course, Steve Yzerman's rookie season. That was the season where they made the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. So this was where the Dead Wings era was coming to an end. So please feel free to check that out sometime. You heard it from me, Seth Walker.
All right. No, yeah, you do good work with your writing, Seth. I'm serious. Like your anthology, it's fire. It's real fire. So good job with that writing so far. Jim, what are your final thoughts?
Oh, you know what? I wanted to say this. I wanted to thank Pistons Talk for coming on. You really added something to the show. You have a lot of knowledge about Red Wing sports, and I appreciate you coming on. I thought that was awesome. Also, I really love the setup that we have going on. I like the show. I appreciate everybody that showed up in the chat, and appreciate you, PD, for putting this on. PD's been coming up with the questions and doing a lot of work behind the scenes. So I really appreciate you too. And Seth, thank you for bringing it today. We had a lot of fun. So I just appreciate everybody that is helping us put this together. It's a brand new show, so have to give it some time and things like that for it to grow. And we love all the support from our fellow DSA members. And like I said, just appreciate all of you.
All right. Sweet. Pistons Talk. You have any final thoughts?
Appreciate you guys having me on. Always love talking some Red Wings. I gotta go eat some dinner. I gotta get ready for Above the Rim in a little bit.
All right. Those are final thoughts?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Yeah, we're glad to have you on. Yeah. For those in the chat, DSA Above the Rim will be happening at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So if you like Pistons talk, then you're going to want to tune into
Well,
that.
we do like Pistons talk because he came on with us. That was really nice.
Oh. that wasn't exact. That was – feel like people talking about the Detroit Pistons.
We're just having fun, man.
Yeah, we are. So, yeah, for sure. No, but we're going to continue to try to grow this, and we're going to continue to try to keep this going. And thank you, everyone, for coming out. Thank you guys for being on the show with us. Thank you, panel, for being willing to come on and talk and keep this train rolling. And hopefully we can continue to produce in the future. And with that being said, we are